Hey, everybody. Welcome to Ultimate Insider. I am Mike Pulaski, and today we're talking about the UVA versus Cal game this past weekend. And it was an interesting game in that UVA, one of the top teams in the ACC, they came into the game, they were +8 in turnovers. They went out +10 in turnovers. Came into the game running the ball extremely well. They ran the ball extremely well. They came into the game one of the top teams in the country on third down conversions and on offense and defense, and that stat held true. Those are three of the biggest stats that you can find in football to help a team succeed and win. And so this game, they held true to form. The Bears unable to stop in the final 31-21. But the Bears had a late chance, 24-21. So we'll talk about everything that happened in this game. I'll give you my opinion on it, and then I'll talk with Coach Wilcox in a little bit. I'm going to start where I always start, on the offensive line. And I want to say, look, I have the ultimate reverence for offensive linemen. I love dudes that play that position. My left tackle, my center were the best men in my wedding, much to the chagrin of my best friends growing up. It wasn't that bad, but I showed them a place of honor in my wedding just because I respect those guys so much. I always have my entire career. That said, they got to play. They got to do their job. That's it. Just do their job. And right now, Cal is having a rough time with offensive linemen. And it's a shame because my experience with Cal has always been phenomenal offensive linemen. My offensive line was outstanding. We had, I think in the time that I played, my 2 seasons, 90, 91, left tackle, left guard my junior year, center, my right guard and my right tackle all ended up going on and playing professional football afterwards. And then went the same thing. We had left tackle Troy Izine, right tackle Todd Stussy, right guard Eric Malum, center Steve Gordon. And then we traded players at our left guard position, but 4 out of 5 ended up playing in the NFL for a while. And so we have always had great linemen. You look back, Alex Mack just went in the Hall of Fame. Tarek Glenn just went in the Hall of Fame. It's a phenomenal history of outstanding offensive linemen that have played at Cal over the course of the years. And so that rich tradition right now is just not happening. And it hasn't been happening for the last decade or so, or even more, to be honest with you. And so we need to figure out what the disconnect is there, finding those guys or coaching those guys or training those guys. Because I'll tell you, the guys that we have here, talent-wise, I think our tackles right now, talent-wise, are talented enough to be next-level guys. There's no doubt in my mind, when I watch them move in practice, they're talented enough to be next-level guys. They're just not coming out in the game. And that's a real problem. And that has to do with the way you apply your mental skills, the way you approach the game, the way you prepare, all those things. Because if it happens in practice for you and doesn't happen in the games, then there's a short circuit somewhere along the line. That needs to be figured out. Without that, you are in big trouble. So offensive line not playing great. Also, the other thing is the center snap. Nobody can affect the center snap but the center. The D-line can't, the DBs can't, linebackers can't. Nobody can affect that but the center. And Tyson Ruffins early in the season was automatic with his snaps. And recently it has gotten pretty ugly. I think there were over 10 bad snaps in these games. And I don't mean just snaps that get away where the quarterback has to go jump on him, which we saw a couple in this game. But I also mean snaps where it's high and away. The quarterback has to reach up and try to grab it, or low down by his feet. The quarterback has to save it. As a quarterback, trying to look downfield, trying to go through your read, try to go through your progression, and there is no more difficult position in sports to play than quarterback. It is damn near impossible to be functional in a play if you start that play off with a bad snap. There's snaps by your feet or snaps, out to the side. You have to take your attention away from what you're doing, away from the defense, and then catch that ball first and foremost, and then get back into the rhythm. By that time, everything has changed. And so you miss action when you have that bad snap. And so that's an absolute, literally a non-starter. You cannot do that as a center, as an offensive line. You have to get that snap back to your quarterback. And the Bears having a rough time with that. Literally short circuits a lot of offense. And so that's a big one. That, like I said, the Bears were 24-21. They had a late chance to come back in that game. They had the ball with 45 seconds left. JKS is as good at driving that ball vertically down the field as anybody in college football right now. And bad snap, first play, He ends up trying to field the bad snap and try to get back into his read. He ends up throwing in a double coverage as a result of not being able to have his eyes on rotation and what's going on out there, and wasn't able to get through his check. And that bad snap also heightens the tension, heightens the panic for a quarterback. And that is not good. Stress back there, more stress than is dictated, is always a brutal thing. And so bad snap leads to an interception, return for a touchdown, makes the game look worse than it was, 31-21. But that is a tough one. So the bad snap, that has to change, period. The defense can't affect that. That is a mental error from day one if you are not getting that back there. And it's mental and physical because you're making it bad. And so that has to change. On top of that, the young quarterback is literally getting the stuffing pounded out of him. Our tackles need to play better. Our guards need to play better. Obviously, I just talked about our center. You have one of the most dynamic young passers in college football, and they are letting him get hit often. And I just think that has to change. It is not acceptable. Surprising that JKS hasn't gotten into a fight with one of these offensive linemen, but cheers to him, man. He is tough. And I will show you in Pause Plays of the Week coming up, his courage staying in there in the pocket. And so he still keeps making plays, but it is hard and it changes your game. I'll talk to Coach Wilcox about that. As a quarterback, your steps get shorter, you come off things faster, your reads speed up because you're trying to make something happen. And he is having that happen to him in the process of the game. And so that's got to change as well. He's got to get somebody out there to protect him. Give him just an extra, if you give an extra half a second on some of these reads, it's a difference maker in those games. And there were several plays in this game. He made some plays in spite of being under duress, but there were several plays in this game where it could have been a lot bigger had they give him an extra half a second back there to stand in, or if he felt comfortable enough to stand in, with pressure around him, because he has had the constant onslaught of pressure. So offensive line play has to get better. Bears also have to be able to run the ball on first down to get positive yardage on first down. That third down conversion number is big because lack of third down conversions on offense means you turn the ball over to the defense. But it's a big result of not being able to run the ball effectively on first down or second down. Bears, I think, had 39 yards rushing in this game. Not good. And so it has to be better than that. And then on top of that, the young quarterback has to get his progressions where they go through and he finds the check downs, the options, the easy stuff right away, gives himself a little bit of breathing room too. So it all works together for third downs. And so that also has to get better. The turnovers, I told you about one already. Another time he's throwing a ball up for Jacob DeJesus, who's been phenomenal, but he's just a little short on it. And that's the problem with having a receiver who's not a huge guy, is that he and the DB go up at the same time. DB rips it away, and it ends up being a turnover. So that is difficult as well. +2 in turnovers in the game. Third down conversions, they were over 50%. Cal was, I think, like 28%. And then bad O-line play by the Bears. They had really good O-line play, by the way. Their offensive line, especially the first series, they came off, boy, and it looked like a symphony out there. Everybody just working in combination, stepping where they needed to, striking, getting a hat on a hat, sticking to dudes. That was a good offensive line. And so that looked really good. And they did it again in the third quarter too. But they ran the ball well. They got in position. They did the things they had to in the running game to be efficient. They had good little running backs too. So all those things add up to a tough one for the Bears. There were some players who I thought played extremely well. Tron Grizel, 7 catches this game, had fought for balls, came back, ran good routes, did what he had to make huge catches. So his focus into it, making the plays he needed to make. It's great to see that again because I'm a huge Tron Grizel fan. Jacob DeJesus always shows up, I think. But Aiden Keanu-Aina also, he was a stud out there. He has been. 10 tackles in a game for a nose guard is an insane number of tackles for a guy playing that interior line position. And so he had a fantastic game. And then Aaron Hampton, or King Salmon, who is middle linebacker out of Anchorage, Alaska, came in. And remember, this guy was a walk-on last year when he came in, and he earned a scholarship by being on the field last year. And then this year had to fill in because Kay got injured, and he has been really, really good when he's had to fill in and did everything he could within his power, within his skill set during this game. So he was phenomenal as well. I think he had 15 tackles in this game. So a couple of guys looked really good in this game. And then some guys, need to step up their game. Offensive line has to get better. Again, I love big guys. I love the offensive line. They have to get better. And if they're looking at film and they don't think that, then they're just wrong. That's just got to, that play. If your offensive line doesn't set the tone, if they don't get it straight, then nobody does. If the center can't snap the ball to the quarterback, you can't get things started. There's just too many frustrating things that are mental errors, that are assignment issues, that are easily corrected by individual players that haven't been corrected. And so that's got to change, but it tells you why the Bears are where they are right now. So anyway, that's my take on the game. Talk to Coach Wilcox. Here's a look at that interview. We'll go to that right now. Coach, I'll leave the floor open to you. Virginia team is a good football team, but what did you see on film?
Yeah, they're a good football team. There's a reason they're winning. They've won a lot of close games. We had a chance to win the game on a few different occasions or get ahead, and we weren't able to capitalize. Ultimately, I think when you just look at the game as a whole, they ran 80 offensive plays and we ran 57. Okay, so they ran more than a quarter's worth of plays against our defense than we got against their defense. And so that was a function of third downs on defense, a couple missed opportunities to get off the field, and offensively not converting when we could have converted, and a couple missed opportunities for big plays. And so I think, ultimately we didn't get the job done, which is really frustrating and disappointing. You give them credit. They do have a really good team, and I was proud of our effort. The guys played hard. Our guys competed and played hard and kept scrapping. We had a chance, even with the things we didn't do as well, we had a chance with a minute to go, 48 seconds or whatever it was, to go down and tie or win the game. And unfortunately, didn't get that done. So we have to learn from that and play better this next week.
Yeah, one of the things that really kind of stood out to me, and I watched it again on film, but we talked about it after the game, is line play. They were really good up front, both sides of the ball. And I think that offensive line in particular, you can watch zone running teams, boy, when they step in sync and everybody's kind of right on a hat, and they're very sticky, that leads to good things for an offense. Talk about their line play.
Yeah, they did a good job. We knew they would coming in. They work well together. In their offense, the QB, whether it's the run game or the RPO game, they did a nice job. We tried to mix up some fronts on them, mix up some pressures. And, there's stress in every defense, and we didn't win enough at the stress points. I think that's probably, when we were overloaded and got real big and went up and it's really the drives, that early couple drives, the first drive and then the one in the third where the tempo got to us. And we still had chances on those drives. There was some drives in the middle of the game. The defense actually played well and got them off the field. But ultimately, the slow start on defense and offense, and then that drive in the third was the difference defensively to not play good enough to win.
Yeah, I agree. And again, you and I have talked about this so many times, one-on-ones, right? Everybody wins their gap, and you get a one-on-one somewhere that doesn't win. And that's a big deal. And it was one-on-ones in the front. It was one-on-ones in the second. It wasn't the same guy every time. Like, they're different one-on-ones in different occasions, especially at home in a game like that. How important is it to win all those one-on-ones or a majority of those?
Well, if you win them all, you're probably going to win big.
Yeah, right?
If you win all your one-on-ones, you're going to win big. And then our job on defense and an offense, just as coaches, is like, okay, where are the one-on-one wins? Who do we want to put the stress on? How many times do we want to move that stress? And so we try to do that, and just not enough times where, like on defense, I think early in the game, we pressured them early on a third down, man pressure, and they ran away from us in man-to-man and caught the dig route. And then we, next one, I think we had a third and longer. We ran a four-man rush and didn't get the ball out early enough. And so the guy, got through his progression and then some. And then if you flip sides of the ball, we had some early losses at the offensive line position early in the down, which, then speeds the quarterback up, or the run game gets kind of blown up. We got to do a better job there. But you go back, like you said, the one-on-ones. If you win a bunch of those throughout the game, you're probably going to play pretty good football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And like you said, you gave yourself a chance. Another thing that reoccurred this week, kind of a carryover from Virginia Tech, is the bad snaps.
Yep.
Especially for a young quarterback, for any quarterback, but for a young quarterback especially, trying to make his reads and go through it against a good team, that makes it really tough.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just, we can't have it. We were ready to make some changes last week. Unfortunately, we lost a guy during the week in practice, so it altered our plans there. There's some potential to make some changes moving forward, but we have to get the ball to the quarterback, in his chest or at his belt at least, so he can keep his eyes up. As you know, Mike, there's enough going on with seeing rotations, seeing pressures, anticipation of where the route's going to be that the quarterback has to do. And we don't need to make that harder by putting the ball low and fast or high and outside where you have to take your eyes off it. Because, when your eyes now are shifting low and left, high and right, well, now you got to worry about catching the snap and then get back to defeating the defense and delivering the ball on time and accurate and all those things. So we have to help Jaron just get the play started. I mean, very hard to have a good play when you have a start to the play where it's putting us out of rhythm.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a whole procession, right, of progress for a quarterback where I read rotation, and from rotation it takes me to my next read, and those kind of things that you have to do as a quarterback. And if you miss that initial rotation, you're completely out of it. Yeah. And now you're not in sync in terms of what you're reading, and you're trying to figure, and you're scrambling with your eyes, and so you look, it looks tough back there for a quarterback. So tough for him. And once again, tackles struggled a little this week, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're trying to, find ways to help those guys and also still be productive in. They didn't bring a lot of pressure, Mike, honestly. There's a lot of four-man rush, a few five-mans, but we have to be better protecting either 5-on-4 or even 6-on-4 and throwing the ball. There was times it looked good, but there's too many losses at the line of scrimmage right now. There was just too many of those. I mean, whether it's a run or pass game, we have to block. We have to snap and block better on offense. That right there, those two fundamentals of the game will help us play much better. Just snap and block at the point of attack for 2.5, 3 seconds in the pass game or the run game, and we're going to have a lot better chance to have success. So we got to keep working the fundamentals of the game. Everybody always talks about it. It's true, blocking and tackling, because beyond that, if you don't do those two things well, I don't care what plays you run, schemes you have, you're not going to play well. So we have to get better on game day of snapping the ball and then blocking them, and then defensively, which we were better tackling this game. It wasn't even close. So we got to keep that up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just in terms of efficiency, initiating the play correctly gets you 50% efficiency right out the gate. Like, you're that much better just to start it off. And again, those pressures, we talked about it last week, lead to the young quarterback not being able or not feeling like he can set his feet. Right? Yep. There's a couple throws, a big go ball to DeJesus out the sideline where he didn't feel like he could set his feet. And so he gets flinchy. I've been there. I've done it. I totally understand it. And so how do you help him with that at this point? Where do you go?
Well, I mean, there's personnel things that we have to make decisions on. There's protection things we got to make decisions on. I think one of the challenges, Mike, as you can appreciate, is if they're rushing 3 or 4 guys, let's say it's 4, and you keep 6 or 7 in, then the coverage, it makes life easy on the secondary because everybody's doubled.
Yep.
So in order to stress the coverage, if they're only rushing 4 guys, you have to be able to, expose the coverage and stretch it out so you can deliver the ball on the windows. And so that's something we're going to, have to reconcile. How many guys do we need to keep in to protect? And can't do that all day, because if not, then they're doubling the receivers all day. It's also getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands in a timely fashion, getting the run game, get some efficient runs so we're ahead of the chains and not behind them. Again, to reiterate, we have to get the play started. We need to get the snap. So gun, who's snapping it? We've been really good in practice. Unfortunately, it doesn't show up in the games. So, I did, maybe making some changes there and then potentially playing some under center if we need to.
Yeah. Well, which changes everything for you guys, right? Getting under center changes everything. A couple guys that really stood out to me. Obviously, Aaron Hampton coming in, filling in. Cade gets injured. Aaron comes in there. King Salmon shows up. Boy, he is getting after it. He makes a bunch of tackles, career high tackles. Talk about his play.
Really proud of how he came in and competed. Got a lot of respect for him. The whole team does. I walked on here just a year ago, earned a scholarship, and he finds the ball. I mean, ultimately, there's probably guys that maybe run a little bit faster or whatever, but he finds the ball. And if you're evaluating linebackers, do they get to the ball and tackle the guy? I mean, there's a lot of other metrics, how tall is he and this and that and the other. And size and speed 100% help. I mean, Cade's a great example. He's so explosive and fast. He can chase everybody down. And nobody's going to step in and do what Cade does. We don't have anybody like that. But Aaron did a great job stepping in, and he found the ball. He had 15 tackles, and he's a tough guy, man. He's a tough, competitive guy, and it showed up.
Yeah, and saw a lot more of Harrison Taggart at the end of this game as well.
Yep. And Harrison came in here through the transfer portal, and he did a couple good things, and we still need Harrison to continue to we're going to need some good reps out of Harrison. And he did some good things, which is great to see, and we'll expect him to keep improving.
I mean, Cade's a stud, and you want to have him on the field for every snap that you can, but you also have to have 4 or 5 deep at that linebacker position because there are times when you're going to have to use other guys. Also, we talked about him early in the season, haven't talked about him a ton recently, which is kind of typical of that nose guard position of the big guy, but Aiden Keon-Aina continues to be just a good football player up front.
Yeah, he's really consistent. He's had a few bad plays or maybe a bad series throughout the season, but other than that, that guy plays good football. I don't know if I've been in a game where the nose guard had 10 tackles.
Yeah.
Now, they ran 80 plays, so there's more opportunities, but with that being said, I mean, he had 10 tackles, and he made a tackle on punt, and if he doesn't make the tackle on the punt, they return it for a touchdown. We end up stopping him on a fake field goal on that series, and it's because Aiden hustled his butt off to get the guy out of bounds. Aiden plays very hard. He's extremely tough. He cares a lot, and he's a big guy. And that was a really good performance. And to be honest, Mike, like I said, he's been playing really good football the whole year.
Yeah, the whole year, and you just see him. He shows up, right? Nose guards never get the attention that they deserve, but they eat up those blocks. They solidify gaps, and he's just been really good at it all year long. But he stood out to me in this game, especially. Just kind of he would get through his gaps, turn stuff back, make tackles, just making plays all over the field as a nose guard, which is special. Tron Grizel on the offensive side, he'd had a couple drops coming into this game. He came back and he fought for the ball. He won a lot of those one-on-one balls this game.
I think he caught every ball he was targeted on, if I'm not mistaken, which is great. That's what we want to see. We want to see that from every receiver. When the ball is in the air, it's in their mind, it can't be 50-50. It's got to be their ball, and I appreciate Tron going and fighting for it. We were much better in the drops department. We weren't perfect. We would like to be perfect, so we'll keep working at that. But, yeah, that was good to see that Tron made those contested catches, and when the ball came to him, he caught it.
Yeah, and Jacob DeJesus once again. There were opportunities that people didn't see at home for Jacob as well, right? There were some shots that with some time or just an extra beat, the quarterback could have found him in the concept, there was some big time stuff where he was open.
Yeah, you saw it and you know what you're looking for. There's some opportunities there to get down the field. Jacob can get open, and we got to be able. It's give us 3 seconds, and maybe a little more. If we have to buy time, then we'll buy it at the quarterback position, but we got to get 3 seconds, because if we do that, then there's more opportunities to hit some of those big plays that we're looking for.
It's amazing the difference that a second makes. And I mean, we talk about it all the time, and I watch the film, I watch the games, I see what's going on and understand it, and as a coach, you always have to say the right things, but there's some stuff there. If the offensive line can protect a little better, your quarterback can make it happen. And I just worry about young quarterbacks losing their accuracy, feeling pressure, doing those kind of things as it goes along. So, okay, that said, that one's passed. The beauty of football is you got another one coming up this week. Let's talk about Louisville. What do you know about them?
Really good team. They're as talented or more so than anybody we've played. The O-line is very good. The receivers are great. Miller Moss is playing really well. 2 elite running backs. We'll see if they're healthy. Nobody's really tackled those guys one-on-one. It's team tackling. Defensively, the front's a handful, both edges. Very aggressive up front. Good. The punt returner, kick returner is also the receiver, number 5. Is a very, very good player. Is a transfer from, I believe, La Tech, if I remember right. But they're very talented, and Coach Brom does a really good job.
And that receiver is probably a high-round NFL pick, that kind of guy, right?
Yeah, he's dynamic. Yeah. I mean, he's 5's good, 0's good. I mean, the 2 backs are elite. Number 1 and 22, they're elite.
Yeah, and Miller Moss does a great job. He does have a propensity to throw that dumb pick from time to time.
We'd love for Miller to throw us one. He's played a lot of football, though. Miller, he makes good decisions. He knows what he's doing. He's a good football player. He's played a lot. Not much surprises him. So, and Coach Brom does a heck of a job with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, he does. Former quarterback himself, played against him in the XFL. Know him from back then. So, well, we look forward to it. What's the key on the road? Obviously, Louisville, they've got it going too. They're a team that's looking for a championship. They're a team that's trying to get, bigger, better things in terms of hopes. What's the key for you guys on the road this week?
Yeah, show up and with a chip on our shoulder, play as hard or harder than we did last week, and match that intensity. And then I think from a football standpoint, you're going to think it's all coach speak, but it's true. Like, we got to block and tackle, we got to block them, and we got to fight and scratch and claw in the trenches. And then on defense, we got to tackle, and it's going to take not just one guy. It's going to take everybody running the ball, leveraging the football, and getting the guys on the ground. And there's going to be schemes involved. We got to practice that stuff all week, whether it's on our kickoff team or our punt team, tackling the returner, or our defense. We got to tackle, and then we have to block people up front and on the perimeter on offense.
Yeah, I don't think that's coach speak in the least. I would start with blocking. I'm a guy, I'm all about offensive line. Your offensive line sets the tone. If they can get it done, then you give yourself a chance in everything you do. Appreciate your time, Coach. Looking forward to seeing the Bears this week on the road.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
So that's Travers family head football coach Justin Wilcox and his thoughts on UVA and on Louisville. Just to kind of finish it off, if the offensive line is good, if they can give the quarterback, and they don't have to be phenomenal, they just have to be average. If they're just average and give the quarterback that extra beat, then Cal has a chance, because there's stuff that Coach Harsin calls that is open, that's there, and it's available for the taking if the quarterback has the time to get to it. And so they just got to figure it out. They got to find a way to make plays. Linemen and tackles got to keep their heads up. They can't lunge at blocks. Running back is part of that, by the way. So I always leave them out when I talk about O-line. But running back is part of that, making sure the quarterback's protected. There was some stuff there as well. And so that group, the protection group, have to do better. And if they do, there's an opportunity to win a couple of these games that the Bears have lost. Coming up, you got Louisville. This is a really good football team. They beat Miami. They lost to UVA, but they're coming into this game, one loss on the season, 7-1, looking really good. They are very athletic. I think they're more athletic, especially at the skills positions, than UVA was. They like to play a ton of man on defense. They'll mix it up. They'll bring a little bit of pressure, but they got good edge guys. Their D coordinator, by the way, is a former teammate of mine at Cal, Ron English, and so he's been a very good coach, college football coach, for quite a while now. But he has put together a pretty good defense that gets after the quarterback. They cover down, they attack the ball, they're good against the run, and so it's going to be a challenge for this offense and the offensive line in particular. They got to handle the edge guys, and it's going to be a challenge in terms of getting the ball out. So Coach Harsin's going to have to put something together on a game plan to get that done. Offensively, they run the ball extremely well. Now, there's a question whether their star running back will play or not. Whether he plays or not, their backup is also good. They are good up front at blocking. They are good with their scheme. Their quarterback, Miller Moss, is a transfer from USC. He is a talented quarterback. He has thrown a few extra interceptions, especially times when he didn't need to, and so that was a knock for him. But he is a good passer. He throws a great ball. He reads well. So the Bears have to find a way to affect him, to move him off his position. And then Louisville has not one, but two really good receivers that you're going to see in this game. Number 5 and number 0, I believe. And they are really good football players. And so that's going to be a struggle. Bears safeties have to improve. Again, continue to improve, get better. And they have to find a way to move Miller Moss, to make him uncomfortable, to get him off his platform. If they can do that, they get a chance. It's a tough test on the road. There's no doubt about it. But clean up the offensive line, convert on third down, create takeaways, not turnovers, and you give yourself a chance. And that's how they win it this week. I appreciate you guys watching. You can always catch our call on KSFO 810. That will be 7 o'clock Louisville time. And so you can catch that out here. And then you can catch my pause plays of the week coming up later this week. I'm going to talk about some plays. I'm going to show you some missed opportunities. I'm going to show you some of the O-line stuff that I was talking about. We're going to talk about defense, and we'll get that done as well. But till then, I appreciate you guys listening. For Bear Insider and Ultimate Insider, I'm Mike Pulaski, and as always, go Bears.